It was super spooky.
Yeah.
And one thing that I know that we can say that doesn't really like give anything away was we were running like a spirit box and it said, tell the truth. And then right after it said, am I dead?
And we were like,
And Felice looks at me and was like, what do we say?
I was like, I don't know how to answer that question. That was spooky.
That was really spooky.
What did you say?
I said, I think that you've moved on
to a different place.
A different
so diplomatic.
Yeah.
I believe you've moved into a different room, shall we say.
I don't know. Welcome to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Andy.
And I'm Felice. And we are recording here in Key West, Florida.
Lately, we've been getting some love from listeners, and we have some new Patreon members. Pew pew!
Woohoo! Patreon members, Sarah and Julia.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Julia.
Yes, thanks for joining us and helping us grow our podcast and helping us continue our investigations.
Ooh.
And we love shouting you out.
Yes, and we are just so glad that you're here and supporting us. Mm-hmm. Speaking of investigations, we recently investigated 2 places. We had a really busy week.
Oh my gosh, I was so tired. I was like, this is fun, but this is a little too much for me.
Definitely burning the candle at both ends.
Yes, for sure.
But we went back to the firehouse, which was really cool. The first time we went there, we had a ton of activity, and this time was a little bit quieter.
Yeah, which I think for me, being new to this world, was actually a really good experience, because I think when I went there first, I was like, I don't know if this is real. Like, a lot of weird stuff is happening here. Maybe this is just what happens. And this time it was a lot quieter. And so I was like, oh, okay. It's different every time.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something to this.
Maybe. And then...
Oh, and we got to see our friend Dan.
Oh, Dan the Ghost Man.
Yes. He was at the firehouse this time. Usually he's at Fort East Martello with Robert the Doll. But he was at the firehouse with Bump Fardo. And Frank, the bathroom ghost.
Yeah, and he joined us for a while, and that was really, really fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
But I think one notable thing... Do you want to talk about when we were in the bunker? Or no, not the bunker. The room with the poker table, and we were sitting there, and we heard some noises from the room that we had just come from, the bunk room, and we could see that there's nobody in there. Yes. And tell them,
What?
please.
I can't remember.
Well, okay, so we
give me a hint.
So we heard noises that almost sounded like perhaps like a footstep or something.
Oh yeah.
And we were sitting on the floor in the room, the adjacent room.
Yeah.
And Felice was like,
Dan was like, oh, I heard something. And I go, oh, I thought that was you moving the chair, because I was sitting on the floor and I could feel something like a bump or something like that. And I was like, oh, I thought that was you. And he's like, oh, that wasn't me. Right.
So the vibrations or whatever, you felt the physical manipulation or whatever, like reverb.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, felt like something fell on the floor, or there was a bump or something like that. And I felt it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And then Dan was like, I'm going to go downstairs and see if anyone's here. And there wasn't anyone there.
Yeah. I was so nervous when he was like, I'm going to go check if there's someone else here. And I was like, running all those like crazy scenarios in my head.
Are we going to get murdered? We didn't. We're fine.
Yeah. We're here. We think.
It was fine. Oh, and also the bathroom was kind of cool again. Like, we had a little bit of activity in the bathroom again. So, that's supposed to be like a hot spot.
Yeah.
It was cool. And then we did the coolest thing of the whole entire week, and probably for many weeks to come.
Oh, yeah.
We had special permission to go into a location. It's undisclosed. It is a little top secret.
Yeah. And it was super spooky.
It was crazy.
We went in, and people were supposedly had not been in there for quite some time.
Yeah.
We probably breathed in a lot of asbestos and other terrible things.
Worth it.
Yeah. But there were lots of artifacts, let's say, from decades ago.
Yeah.
And we're still getting some of the details ironed out with like how much we can talk about or share. But suffice to say, it was super spooky.
Yeah.
And one thing that I know that we can say that doesn't really like give anything away was we were running Spirit Box and it said, tell the truth. And then right after it said, am I dead?
And we were like,
And Felice looks at me and was like, what do we say?
I was like, I don't know how to answer that question.
And
That was spooky.
That was really spooky.
What did you say?
I said, I think that you've moved on
to a different place.
A different.
So diplomatic.
Yeah.
I believe you've moved into a different room, shall we say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't want to be the one to break it to
I
them.
know. We don't want to overstep our boundaries.
Yeah.
But it was crazy too. So at one point we were sitting outside and we were doing the Estes Method, and Andy so that means that she had on a blindfold and headphones that were plugged into this little, it's like a frequency hopping radio. So it hops from frequency to frequency. And then if there's something happening on that, then it'll spit out a word, whatever happens to be on that radio frequency.
And like, you can't hear anything that's going on around you at that time. It's all like sort of sensory deprivation. So you can't see, so you can hear better, but you can't hear the people around you.
Yeah.
So you're really hoping that you're there with good friends who are going to do something weird.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Most of us were fine, but we had one or two. We had one little, a wild one, a wild card in our group. Anyway, so the point is that you ask questions and then hopefully whoever's coming through will come through on one of these frequencies, and then Andy will say whatever she hears. So at this one point, though, we were sitting out there, and we had a few people with us, and she said, pray for me. And then right then the church bells went off, and it was like
crazy.
It was crazy. And also it was like, tell my story. There were a lot of just interesting things. We got a couple names, which we need to kind of look into. It was a ghost hunt or no ghost hunt. It was an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience. And then the paranormal investigation piece just added such an interesting level.
Yeah, from a historical perspective, it was really, really, really interesting. But all of the spooky stuff there was a lot going on. And also, you pointed this out, within the two places that we were, there wasn't anything alive.
No.
And like no bugs, no lizards.
We saw a few desiccated skeletons of iguanas. Right.
But there was nothing living, like no mice, no rats. And here, that's very unusual.
Yes.
Very unusual.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't stay in here too long.
We're not sure what got them. And they're like, oh, Andy, let us lower you down into this tunnel. And I'm like, wait, this sounds like a zombie movie waiting to happen.
Bill was like, I'm glad we're done having kids. Hopefully we're okay. We're probably okay. We weren't in there that long.
Yeah, hopefully.
No. Hopefully it was worth it. It's probably worth it.
Worth it.
Zombies or something.
Yes.
We have a lot of video
and audio
to go through, and pictures. But if you look on our Patreon, there's a little sneak peek of a couple of pictures, and it looks there's one like very spooky picture there. So it's cool. Yeah.
So keep an eye out.
Yes, keep an eye and an ear out for future updates.
And hey, if you are listening to this podcast, which you must be, will you take a second? You've made a great choice. Will you please take a second and write us a review and give us an amazing rating on whatever platform you're listening or watching on? Every rating, and particularly review, is super, super helpful for us, and they help us so much. Also, please sign up to become a Patreon member, just like Julia and Sarah. Yes. The link is in our show notes.
Yes. All right, let's get down to business. In case you are joining us for the first time, or you've forgotten somehow since last week. We're two silly friends who love all the spooky stories.
We love the hauntings, the cryptids, UFOs, the ghosties, and everything weird or strange. But we know we don't know much about these things.
We do know enough to have a deep respect for the unknown and spooky forces around us.
We hope to bring you stories that make you wonder, get the goosebumps, and question everything you know. We also make sure to keep it light. Recently, several people have told me they want to listen, but they're afraid and that they don't like spooky things. And so I told them we generally laugh so much that even the spookiest story feels light.
Yeah, we have like maybe two episodes that are pretty scary, but
Yeah.
the rest of them it's fun. We have a good time together.
Yeah.
A quick warning before we begin, though, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Our tales are drawn from history, folklore, and reported experiences, but we don't claim them as fact. Some stories may include sensitive topics, so listener discretion is advised.
Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Shall we dive in? Today we're entering the woodland shadows and the hills of Ireland and stepping beyond the edge of what many believe is real. We're talking about fairies.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
Not the Disney versions, the ones that dance and glitter and sing happy songs, but the older, stranger, darker, and for some, painfully real tales of the fairies or fae. We'll walk through history, folklore, and some genuine first-hand accounts of people who claim they've encountered these elusive beings in the wild, in our own world.
Ooh.
Most people today imagine fairies as tiny winged sprites, often friendly, sometimes mischievous, Tinkerbell vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But this is largely a modern invention from Victorian times and children's tales.
Okay.
In folklore and myth, the fae span a vast array of beings, from the terrifying to the benevolent, across cultures. In the Celtic lands, for instance, the word fairy meant something much closer to an alternate people, beings that live in an entirely different realm parallel to our own.
Ooh, okay.
In medieval England and Scotland, fairies were often thought of as nature spirits, guardians of the forests, winds, and rivers, or as spirits of the old gods who hadn't been forgotten. One theory even suggests they may have emerged from ancient ancestors, spirits of the dead living between worlds. In Scandinavian countries, the fae vary from beautiful nature spirits to elves that live in hidden rocks to dangerous water spirits. Throughout Europe and beyond, fairies could be mysterious, neutral, evil, or protective, but almost never merely cute. With such widespread belief in fairies and such differences in descriptions, let's hone it in.
Okay.
Today, in celebration of March and St. Patrick's Day, let's focus on Ireland's fairies.
Let's do it.
Irish folklore about the Aos Sí fairies. So that Aos Sí, it's written in Gaelic, but that's the pronunciation. And if I'm not saying it right, I'm so sorry.
We're trying our best.
We're trying. So Irish folklore about the Aos Sí comes from oral tradition. Their origins are not precisely defined. There's two main traditional explanations that appear in folktales. One holds that the Aos Sí are fallen angels, that they were spirits cast out of heaven whose sins were not severe enough to condemn them to hell. The other is more deeply rooted in Gaelic mythology, and it identifies them as the descendants of the Tuatha De Danann, the ancient divine race of Ireland.
Okay.
In this version, the Aos Sí are the later folkloric forms of these deities. According to Irish mythology, the Tuatha De Danann were a race of godlike warriors. They were defeated by the sons of Mil Espain, the Milesians, invaders from Iberia, which is modern-day Spain, as part of a surrender agreement in which the Tuatha De Danann were tricked. The Tuatha De Danann retreated underground into the otherworld, dwelling beneath burial mounds, while the Milesians got to live on the surface.
Ooh.
So I read something that said that essentially in this treaty, they were each entitled to half, but the Milesians tricked them that we'll live on the surface half and you'll live underneath, rather than like splitting the land.
Yeah.
The Tuatha De Danann used their innate magic in their new underground layer to create She, sacred burial mounds or hollow hills believed to house these supernatural beings.
Okay.
In English, we call them fairy mounds, elf mounds, or hollow hills. In folk belief, the Aos Sí are powerful and must be treated with respect. Their name literally means people of the mounds. People in Ireland avoid speaking their name directly, instead calling them the good people, the fair folk, the folk, or just the plain she. Fun fact, the term fae, F-A-E, or fairy, F-A-E-R-I-E, is not traditional Irish Gaelic and not commonly used by the Irish people. They usually stick to fairy, F-A-I-R-Y, if they even use the term at all. But even this is considered by most to be bad luck, disrespectful, or dangerous.
Ooh.
So, out of respect, let's stick to the Ishi and the folk as we continue.
Hey, folks. Okay.
The folk are said to encompass a number of races, tribes, or types. They're often described as being extraordinarily, hauntingly beautiful, with the ability to use glamour to change how they appear to humans.
Ooh, lucky skill to have.
Yeah. So they're typically tall and slender, with luminous skin, long shimmering hair, and they're kind of like human size. Victorian era literature describes them as more elven, with pointed ears and skin that can run the gamut from pale white to green to violet.
Okay. Like Orlando Bloom.
Yeah. I like my fairies looking like that. It's said that sometimes the she can appear terrifying or hideous, as is the case of the Banshee that we met in an earlier episode. But all of them are said to be able to affect humans at will.
Oh, gosh.
A central theme in Irish folklore is the role of the Ishi as fierce guardians of certain sacred places like fairy hills, fairy rings, whitehorn trees, lakes, or woods. Disturbing these locations can provoke retaliation from the folk.
Ooh.
It's also said that interacting with the Ishi or interfering with them in any way can affect one's home and life in a myriad of ways.
Better be careful.
Don't mess with the folk.
No.
People believe the folk could do a variety of things, both positive and negative. It was believed that fairies could bless crops, curse livestock, lead travelers astray, grant or withhold luck, and even steal children.
Ooh.
In case you don't know about changelings, let me share.
Okay.
Changelings is what happens when fairies abduct humans, more commonly children, replacing them with fairy substitutes as punishment for trespass, disrespect, or perceived neglect of children.
Oh, man.
So, with all the power the folk have, there's rules for how to behave to ensure your safety.
Okay.
As a human.
Let's hear it.
First, don't disturb fairy mounds.
Okay.
Don't enter a fairy ring. Do you know what a fairy ring is?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to Ireland and we went and saw
tell me.
fairy. Well, we went to this one place that has fairy rings and also a cheeky goat and also a ugly pig and some other farm animals, and we got to feed them.
Well,
but it was cool. I mean, you know, like you just see, looks like a circle of rocks basically, but also we saw tons of fairy mounds. And also in Scotland, we went to a really cool place that had fairy pools.
Oh.
And the kids actually swam in a fairy pool.
Oh, cool.
And it was very, very cold. Like really cold. But you had to like walk a super long way to get to them.
Oh, wow.
And then they just went swimming.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, I hope you were.
We didn't disturb anything.
Okay, good.
I mean, I don't know. Like the teenage boys. Who knows if they disturbed something. But
I think you would know by now.
Yeah, they're okay. I think.
So don't enter the fairy ring. Don't disturb a fairy mound. Don't cut down a lone whitehorn tree. Because all of those are supposed to be entrances to the other world.
Okay.
Also to take note of, never pick up a shaking mushroom ring at night.
Don't worry.
Never dance in the woods at dusk.
Okay.
Protect your livestock with iron. And refuse any invitations into the fairy mound.
Oh, I think you would have a hard time with a couple of those. I'm going to say with presented the opportunity to dance in the woods at dusk and enter the fairy mound with an invitation, I think you would not be able to be stopped.
Oh gosh, you know me too well. Okay, don't take me there. No, I want to go there so bad.
Yeah. Well, we just have to be. There's just some rules in place.
Be there during the daytime and have a chaperone.
Yeah. Yep. I'll be like, don't go to the fairy ring, even despite that cool invitation.
I'll be like, Orlando Bloom invited me.
I know, that would be tough. Be a tough no.
People protected themselves from the folk in a variety of ways. Garlands of marigolds were made and hung over barn doors to protect the horses from being ridden to exhaustion by the folk at night.
Oh my gosh.
Primroses were spread across windowsills and hung above doors for safety, and wearing St. John's wort was said to protect one from fairy magic and mischief in general.
Oh.
It was also a tradition to sew several four-leaf clovers into a tiny bag to wear around your neck.
Oh.
It was said that carrying a four-leaf clover would allow you to see the folk, who are usually invisible to humans, while other traditions say the four-leaf clovers would allow you to see through fairy glamour and disguises.
Oh my gosh. Did you spend a lot of time when you were a kid looking for four-leaf
All
clovers?
the time.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, me too.
Yes. And it's so kind of cute because now my students at school and my own kids are looking for four-leaf clovers.
Yeah.
And we don't really have that kind of grass
Yeah,
here.
you just know.
Yeah.
And also, like, they don't really know that it can see through fairy glamour.
Right.
But it's cool. It's supposed to be lucky.
Yeah. So each four-leaf clover is good for one sighting. You have one, and that's only for that one time. So that's why they would have several in their bag.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, yeah.
Children often wore daisy chains or carried daisies in their pockets to protect them from being taken by the folk.
Yeah.
Bread and salt are also considered to be protection. So salt was spread across windows and doors to keep them out. And we see that even today as protection from a number of evil spirits.
Yeah.
And negativity and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And different, like, spells and all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder what it is about salt.
I don't know.
It's like so safe.
Yeah. Remember the one lady when we went to that ghost talk, she said that she has a theory that the reason that Key West is so haunted is because it's a string of islands that are surrounded by salt water.
Right.
And
so
the
they
spirits can't leave.
They're just
Bummer.
stuck on this 2x4 island.
Watching people just like sing Sweet Caroline and drink too much. They're like, not again. Another decade of this.
And they're like, these idiots. God. Do something original.
Yeah.
Additionally, some say that leaving offerings of bread and milk is a way to ensure the folk left you alone. But if you leave bread and milk and added cheese, berries, or honey, they might help you with something you need.
Okay.
In almost all legends, iron was considered the very best protection against fairies, as it's considered to be poison to them.
If so kryptonite.
It is, yeah. So if you kept an iron nail in your pocket, it could protect you from being carried away by the folk. They would hang iron shears by a baby's crib so they wouldn't be taken or swapped with a changeling.
Ooh.
So for this reason, horseshoes were often nailed over doors as a precaution.
There you go.
So now we're seeing where some of these,
yeah,
you know, like the four-leaf clover,
Lucky Charm kind of things.
all of those things
Oh.
date back to historic Ireland and protection from the Ishi.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The belief in the folk is so strong in Ireland that it affects many things even today. In County Clare, between Limerick and Galway, there is a 200-year-old hawthorn tree, also known as a fairy bush, that is considered so powerful it stalled a planned highway construction for 10 years.
No way. I wish I knew that when I went to Ireland because I drove that
Awesome.
way.
Well, it was written that the tree had to be protected, and the M18 highway could not come within 5 meters of the tree. It was believed that any attempts to cut down or relocate this tree would result in terrible luck and possible death to anyone associated with the project.
Oh my gosh.
Because this tree, that's the thing. Like if you see a lone tree in the middle of a field, particularly a hawthorn tree, people say that that is a fairy mound and it's a meeting place for fairies or an entrance to the otherworld.
Okay.
So that's how this tree is. A fairy expert also warned that if the tree was removed, drivers on the M18 highway would face car accidents and casualties caused by the folk for at least 15 years.
Oh.
So
How did they get that number?
I don't know. This is a fairy expert. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Expert. Okay.
Well, there are supposed to be people who are fairy experts that the Ishi have revealed themselves to and shared information and things like that. So this expert was consulted and that's what they said. And so I think that basically if you make the Ishi mad,
They're going to get you.
Yeah, their vengeance runs deep.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not going to forget.
Yeah. But it's a random number. It's like 15 years, especially for eternal beings.
It's probably like, to them, that's like,
like
1
a-
second, and then they're
Yeah.
bored of it. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah. Maybe they're bored
You
of
know?
it. Yeah.
So plans were made to reroute around the tree. So apparently somebody was so upset by this and about the delay that they took a chainsaw to its branches, leaving only the trunk.
Okay.
But a funny thing happened. The tree started sprouting new leaves and new branches grew. Now remember, this tree is like 200 years old.
Yeah.
So it starts sprouting this new stuff. The highway was slated to open in 1999, but the opening was delayed. The M18 highway rerouted, and it didn't open until 2009.
Oh my gosh.
The hawthorn tree still stands.
Oh, wow.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And now the tree is thriving.
Yeah.
It's like right back to how it was. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Eek.
That's crazy. I probably was like, thank you for cutting off all of my dead growth, and now I can grow new stuff.
Yeah. Check out my new look. Now we enter the realm where history meets personal experiences.
Okay.
Stories from people who claim they've encountered the folk. There's a famous story from 1910 of a 23-year-old doctor from Ireland encountering the folk. The doctor and his friend were riding from Limerick to Listowel. They saw a light ahead, which they thought was a house. As they got closer, the light began to move up and down, to and fro, and even sparked.
Ooh.
So they continued on, and then they saw 2 more lights behaving the same way. The lights were described as being around 6 feet tall, 6 feet high, 4 feet wide, and within each there was, quote, a radiant being having human form.
Oh.
The lights then vanished. The doctor was quoted as saying, like my companion who saw all that I saw of the first 3 lights, I formerly had always been a skeptic as to the existence of spirits. Now I know that there is a spiritual world.
Oh.
So this type of moving light phenomena is one that people all over Ireland frequently report when seeing the folk.
Oh.
They report seeing lights darting, moving, dancing around areas, particularly when there's fairy rings or other purported entrances to the otherworld.
Oh.
A man named Michael writes in the Fairies of Ireland blog, when I was a little child, about 5 years old, I was at my other grandmother's sister's house. She kept a beautiful flower garden, so many beautiful flowers. I left everyone and went for a walk through her garden. Suddenly, little balls of light appeared and danced all around me. I remember feeling so happy and giggling and laughing. It was an entirely magical experience.
Whoa.
The good people were so interested and curious about me. It was an amazing exchange of energy between us. After a while, I was being called into the house and the good people retreated away. It looked like they disappeared into the woods behind the house.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get nabbed to be a changeling.
Right? Maybe he just had like some good juju. He was putting
Yeah.
good vibes out. He
Yeah.
was just like, look at this beautiful garden.
Yeah, and they were curious about him.
Right. You know, he's appreciating nature, I think, rather than,
right.
you know,
Yes.
disturbing or destroying.
Yeah.
So remember how you're not supposed to bother a fairy ring or fairy fort?
Yep.
Listen to this. A Reddit user said, my grandfather moved to a rural area in the Midlands not long after my dad was born. He worked for the Forestry Service and was a tree surgeon. One day, a farmer over the road asks him to cut back some hawthorn and blackthorn trees encroaching on this man's land. So hawthorn trees are one of the ones we've heard about. He said he'd pay my grandfather well for it. My grandfather obliged, and the next morning he was down to the field and started cutting into the trees. He broke a saw on one of the branches and decided to take a scythe to it. The scythe apparently bounced back from the branch.
Ooh.
The branch then turned and slapped him on the head. My grandfather got out of Dodge.
He's like, nope,
See
not
ya.
worth it.
Yep.
Got it. Noted.
Right.
Whoa.
Later, he relayed the story to another neighbor who then informed him that the trees he was asked to cut down were part of a fairy fort.
Was he like, why didn't you tell me in the
Right?
first place,
Well,
guy?
It seems to me like the guy who hired him was probably trying to like trick him, like get him to do the dirty work. You know, he probably knew and was just like, I just want this out of here.
Yeah.
You know, because that's why he said pay him handsomely or whatever it was. You know.
Yeah. That's pretty sneaky. Also, you think the fairies are dumb enough to not know that?
Right.
They probably knew
That it was
him.
the other guy.
Yeah.
That's why they just slapped him around a little bit. And they're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
A Reddit user named Gally wrote, I worked with a guy years ago. His dad and brother cleared a fairy ring on the farm. 2 weeks later, Dad was killed when he fell into the slurry pit. A couple of weeks later, the brother died too in a weird accident with a combine. Never touch fairy trees nor fairy rings. So that's scary.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it. I don't know. I'm so of the mind. If you don't know what you're dealing with, what's out there, like, don't mess with it. Why tempt it? You know?
Yeah.
Another Reddit user named Irish Fire Rock.
Excellent name.
I'm wondering what kind of rock. Just like rock.
Yeah.
Fire rock.
Okay.
Wrote, so when he moved to the area with his family as a child, he and his siblings were warned to stay out of a certain field. They were told that was where the fairies lived. I did. However, one day a young girl went missing. People searched for her, but no sign. 2 days later, she turned up. She was different. She looked a little different, but it was her. She told them the fairies had taken her. She could not say where. She never seemed to be the same afterwards.
Ooh, I have the chills.
That's a little freaky. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a changeling.
Well,
or maybe it was.
Maybe it was. That's why she was a weirdo now.
Right. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another Reddit user named Opal Falcon wrote, when I was a child, our summer holidays were filled with camping and hiking, often with the extended family. One spot we'd visit was my cousin's uncle's land, spot by the Shannon and a wee island that was said to belong to the fairies.
Oh, okay.
One year, it was after the robotic dinosaur exhibition in Dublin Zoo.
Fun.
So specific.
Yes.
I got 2 hatchling dinosaurs, the best and second best ones, Stegosaurus and Triceratops.
You have to ask both. Those are really the best and second best ones.
Oh, he will say nay. T-Rex.
Obviously.
Number 1. And
T-Rex.
then because he loves his mama, he'll say Triceratops is number 2.
Oh, that's kind.
These went everywhere with me. Just a lad and his 2 dino mates chilling. So we're off camping, hiking, building forts, and then attacking said forts. In all these activities, I lost my little dino buddies. Me da and I spent a day or 2 looking for them, but to no avail. I was heartbroken, really destroyed my little world. Probably left me with a little bit of a complex about losing stuff thinking on it. Right, so this is the penultimate day. We were visiting the fairy island in the Shannon. We rode over and made our way to the fairy fort. I was well equipped with my pocket money. I'm pretty sure it was a punt. That was my offering. So is that Irish money?
know.
Oh, okay. A shot in the dark. Oh,
Maybe it's like a penny, like a small coin. Or
yeah,
something.
I'm thinking it's a coin. So he said, I'm pretty sure it was a punt. That was my offering. A shot in the dark to get back my beloved dinosaurs.
Aww.
So threw the punt over my shoulder, sending my request with it. Please, if you find my dinosaurs, could you give them to me? With my plea to the fairy folk made, we rode back and had dinner. Next day we looked again for my lost friends, but to no avail. They were lost, and I learnt an important lesson. We load up the van with our gear and families and hope to God no one farted.
Okay. That took a turn.
I built a little nest for myself at the very back and tried to get comfortable, but something was digging into my sides. I reached my hands into my pockets and find both my dinosaurs, one in each pocket.
Aww.
I was wearing this tracksuit top all day, and it was empty up until it wasn't. I was absolutely delighted.
That's crazy.
I love that. Remember when we talked before about, if you give them an offering, like a little bit of something they like, then they might help you.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of this, cutie little boy
Aww.
giving probably what was a big deal to him, like some money,
Sure. Yeah.
and hoping for his dinosaurs back. And then
Aww.
I love it.
But also he believed enough to ask for it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. That's probably a big part of it too. I
Yeah.
think, again, what you put out comes back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he's putting his belief out there, but he's also being respectful and kind and, So none of these accounts are scientific proof, but they are sincere testimonies from everyday people who claim something extraordinary happened. It's said that the otherworld, Tir na Nog, which means the land of youth is a blissful realm within the Irish otherworld and the home of the folk. It's a place of eternal happiness, abundance, and health, where no one ages or becomes ill. Mortals may only enter if invited or by accident, and myths warn any gifts received there come at a cost. So I hope that little boy didn't have any cost for it.
Aw. Yeah. Well, he paid ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Like
prepaid.
he had already prepaid.
Traditions say the folk are especially active during transitional times like dusk and dawn, or during certain times of the year, especially Samhain.
Okay.
So that's
Like
kind of like
around
Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
When the veil between the mortal world and the other world thins, this allows passage between the two worlds. While mortals can only cross at these liminal times, the Ishi are said to move freely between the worlds whenever they choose, pursuing their own mysterious purposes. Overall, Irish folklore presents the Ishi as remnants of a divine race or fallen celestial beings who dwell beneath the land in ancient mounds. They are beautiful yet dangerous, deeply tied to sacred landscapes and seasonal festivals, and central to enduring folktales like fairy mounds, changelings, and the banshee. The Ishi are ancient. They're unpredictable. They are beautiful, dangerous, mischievous, and they are everywhere in Ireland. So next time you're there, try to avoid the fairy rings, the fairy mounds, and any lone hawthorn trees.
Ooh. I think you can go visit them. You're just not supposed to mess with them. You know, like there are places where it's like, here's a fairy ring. Come feed the goats here. You know, come feed a little lamb.
But did you go into the ring though?
No, we didn't go into the ring. They were like a little setback.
Yeah,
from the road.
I think that's the thing. I think you're not supposed to go
Breach the
the boundary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I love those kind of stories.
Me too.
Also, understanding that folklore helps me to understand a little bit of my literature preference. If you will.
And I will.
Okay. Anyway, so are you ready for Somebody Told Me?
I'm so ready.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, I was going to tell you a different one, but I'm going to tell you one that I heard last night.
Oh, last night?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I was in an event last night at an event space. I don't think I want to name where it is quite yet because I want to see if I can get some more information. But so I was at this place and I was talking to the sound guy who I know a little bit. We've worked together a little bit. And I was like, hey, I've heard some spooky things about this place. Has anything happened to you here? And he looked at me and I thought he's kind of he's a former Marine. He's kind of like sort of serious guy.
Okay.
And so I thought he was going to be like, no, because he's serious like that, you know? And he looked at me for a second and then he was like, a couple nights ago.
Oh my gosh.
He said he has a band that plays there, or they practice in this other room of this area or this building. And he said, I was getting everything put away and I looked right back here, right behind me, and I saw a shadow of a man standing there. He's like, and there was no one else in here. And he said, it was really spooky.
Oh my gosh, I got to chill.
Mm-hmm. He said, and so then I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I thought that was it. That wasn't it. So, and then he said, and he just had like kind of long pauses between his stories. Like, I think he was trying to figure out if I believed in this stuff too, you know, and he was like, you believe in this spooky stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, listen to this. He said, he's usually the one that does the sound. I think they may have more than one sound person there, but he had been there. And then 2 nights later, the soundboard had a cover on it, but 2 of the knobs had been broken off and stripped. And then they were sitting on top of the cover, but where they go, right? So there's like all these knobs and stuff on the soundboard. They had been basically like yanked off somehow and then put in their place on top of the board right there. And he said, first of all, it doesn't make sense how they got stripped out because they're like endless twists. You know, it's not like it goes only one way or only one way. It just keeps going in a circle. So he's like, I don't even know how that happened. And he said, I asked everybody because I was mad. Like he had to order new stuff and get it fixed because it broke. He's like, who was in here? Who did this? Da, da, da. Nobody had been in there.
Whoa.
He's like, I don't know what happened. And it's weird. It's not like they just like took it off and left it right there. They put it on top of the cover.
Yeah.
And he said, some people even say there are children here. And he said somebody told him that there have been handprints on windows, little kid handprints on windows.
I have chills.
I want to know more now.
Oh my
I really
gosh.
want to know
more. We
more.
have to get in there.
I know. I really want to. I really, really want to.
That's really spooky though. The knob thing. Well, okay, no, they're both very spooky incidents. Anytime there's a shadow figure, that's scary to me. And not because shadow figures are inherently negative, but it's just really unnerving.
Yeah, it's really.
And it's a physical like manifestation of something, right?
Of a big thing,
right?
Too.
But the sound knobs, like that manipulation.
Yeah,
that's really scary.
I didn't get the feeling that they just easily pop off. Like they are connected to the thing. They're not supposed to be able to be like interchanged or anything. They're like a permanent part of that thing.
Why would I don't know? Like, why would a spirit do that? Though? Like, just to send a message,
just to mess around with somebody, boredom. I don't know.
Whoa.
But this building is in an area that there's a lot of interesting, spooky stuff that has happened over history.
And we've heard some rumors about this place in the past.
Yeah, so I want to find out more. I'm going to try to talk to my resources, my contacts, and see if we can get in there, or at least get some stories, or talk to more people there. So
whoa,
yeah, I just don't want to blast the name in case they don't want that.
Absolutely,
but pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Ghosty stuff. And thank you to my friend, the sound person. I know your name, but I don't want to put you on blast.
Thanks, sound guy.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website, you2scaremepodcast.com? You can find blog posts, photos of us all dressed up, and links to buy our spooky gear.
Do you like what you hear? We sure hope so. Help us reach more ears by sharing the show with your friends and fellow ghost hunters, enthusiasts, weirdos. Everyone, And even people who don't like that stuff. Maybe they'll like it after they listen. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Patreon.
Yes, Patreon is a platform that allows creators to receive direct financial support from their patrons. As we continue to work to grow our podcast, this is a way you can help us out. Just follow the Patreon link in our show notes to check out our 2 membership tiers. Both tiers include a shout out right here from us, like for Sarah and Julia.
Woo woo! You can also help us by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to check out our social media. You can follow us on TikTok. Just search You Two Scare Me Podcast, no spaces. Follow us on Instagram, You2Scare Me_podcast, or on our Facebook page, You Two Scare Me.
Remember, please send us your own spooky stories for our Somebody Told Me segment at You2Scare Me Podcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO Scare Me Podcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.